this information that is coming through the conflict. So don't just throw it away, or don't become what's the word? So discouraged because there is a language being spoken to you right now.
Right.
Just be patient. I can even feel that. Is she still on the line right now?
Mm-hmm. She's
okay,
listening.
I also work a lot with intuition.
Yeah, here you go.
Okay.
Why did you just do that?
Let me ask you this: how was relationship with Father? Did she hear that?
Are you there?
Did she leave?
Okay.
Hold on. Hold on.
Okay. I think she left.
No, I'm still here. You guys can't hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now.
I thought you said hold on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Okay. So, no, what I was saying was I didn't have that. As a child, I didn't have, well, maybe when I was younger, like 3, 4, I can remember, times with my dad. But as I got older, he wasn't there. And then now that I'm an adult, he calls me to check on me, and, I check on him because he's, kind of sick. However, there was no real, relationship there with him.
I still see the little girl searching for that, and that was the image that came before me. So what I want you to do, as soon as you get off this phone, I don't know if you have a little sacred space in your home or an altar or wherever, that you can find a sacred space. I don't care if it's a church. You go there and you bring that little girl up. Mm-hmm. And you resolve that conflict. I want you to listen to what she has to tell you. Because when you do that, I believe it's going to really open some other things up as far as relationships for you. Okay? But I see that little girl is kind of in the way of some things. All right?
Okay.
And we want to give that little girl a voice.
Yeah.
Do that as soon as you hang up this phone. Don't even procrastinate on that, because your destiny and your ascension is at hand, and it's time for you to go there. But that little girl has the key for you, okay? And she is going to resolve any conflict that is within, especially with unforgiveness. You should have been there. You abandoned me. Do you hear those voices? Yeah. So we're going to deal with that, and I want you to resolve that and make peace with her so that she can go play like other little girls, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for that.
Wow.
Sweetie, do you have anything you want to follow with?
No.
Okay. All right.
We have another caller that's coming in right now. Miss B, you are on the line. Thank you so much for calling in this evening on this Master Force call. What is your call? What is your question this evening? Miss B, are you there? You're on the line. Hi. How are you?
I thought you were talking to somebody else.
You're the one. You are the one.
I have various aliases, so I had to remember who I was at this time. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to the couple that is on this call tonight. I am being enlightened in more than one way. I am single, waiting to be married. I'm not seeking anymore. I am waiting to be married. And I need to obtain your information again, so I'm hoping that will be repeated. So that's the first thing. The second thing I want to ask is I know you said that people marry their pain, and I've noticed that for me, I've had years in between relationships where I can say this person is my person that I'm dating. Mm-hmm. I have yet to have a relationship that has lasted a year. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what long-term commitment is about. My last relationship I had was in 2005. Prior to that was 1996. I'm ready for it, or at least I believe I'm ready, or maybe it's the the singleness that I don't like anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know whether or not I know I'm not totally ready because I am growing and learning more about myself.
Right.
And I learned some other things about myself. But what really impacted me was when you all say that people marry their pain. I don't want to marry my pain.
Got you. Mm-hmm. Good for you.
I don't want to be in that space.
Honey, let me ask you a question. Out of all those relationships, what was the one consistent thing that kept showing up for you? Just take a few seconds to think about that.
I wanted to be loved.
You.
I wanted those persons to love me enough to take care of me and to make me feel secure.
Got you. And that love was probably never enough. Once they did one thing, it was never enough, maybe? Can you recall that?
I can say now, looking back on it, the first guy, he could not give me love because he was in a relationship with somebody else.
I see.
But he was pulling himself away from that, and I was I'm going to save him from. It was me trying to fulfill my own thing. If I love him or show him that I'm there, then he'll give back to me that which I need, which is that love in return. And it's been that way with every interaction with men.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
What was your relationship like with your parents?
Ooh. Growing up, both of them were very emotionally disconnected. After about 7.5 years of age, my father was not there. My mother was there, but she was not there. She was there physically, but not emotionally. And I understand now that she couldn't be there emotionally because she didn't understand what that meant.
Right.
So I didn't gain that nurturance as a child growing up. So I sought it. There were times when I isolated myself, and I noticed that I still do that to
there you go.
this day as a means of protecting me from rejection, abandonment. And so my relationship with my parents have not been a relationship. You know, I haven't spoken to my dad in a couple of years. Prior to that, it had been numerous years. I sought him out to have that relationship, but he doesn't know how to build that relationship. And so with my mom, I mean, I can literally go months without talking to her, and I'm okay.
Right.
And I've stated to her that I thank her for bringing me through the channel to get here, but I do not feel that mother-daughter connection.
Right. Okay. Honey, did you want to go with this?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll follow after you, honey.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, one thing I would like to say is, have you ever spent any time really going back and dealing with that pain of abandonment and rejection?
I have been in therapy.
Okay.
I literally this year went into therapy at the beginning of the year, and maybe about a month ago said, okay, I believe that I'm okay enough to focus on some other things, because I did focus a lot on that part of my childhood and visualizing the little me and apologizing to her for me thinking that I was protecting her, but I was actually hurting her because I had thoughts of, I'm not good enough, nobody loves me. You know, my mom and my dad, you know, they don't care, so why would anybody else? Those were not the kinds of words that she needed to hear. And to say to her, if you were not here, then everybody else will be happy. Those are not words of love. And so I'm at that point where I've asked for her forgiveness, and I realized, and I did also again this morning, because I realized looking at myself in the mirror, I was still going through years of expecting and waiting for somebody else to come along and love me when I have to do that myself. So
yeah,
I believe that one of my life purposes is to learn to love myself from the inside out.
There you
exactly.
go. There you go.
And you know exactly. You know exactly what it is that you need to do. And honey, you are my life story. I had to learn to love myself too. You know, as I stated earlier, I had abandonment issues as a child, and my mom. I was raised in Wisconsin, and my mom dropped me off in Tennessee, and father, and left. And I waited for her at that door every day for her to come get me. And that's one of the things that I had to go back and revisit. It's great that the therapists have you visualizing the little girl and telling you, I apologize and that, but you haven't given this little girl the right to speak her pain.
There you go. There you go.
Ooh,
and that's what you're missing. You need to get pissed off. I told you we like to run to that light. You have to give voice to the pain. You need to let her cry, have a fit, let her heart break, let her express her fear, let her express everything that she needs to express. And I'm not sure if your parents are in a place for you to say it directly to them. Only you will know that. But you have to give that pain voice, because you went, like I say, people like to go straight to the I forgive this, and I'm so sorry, and that's great, and I love you, and you need to do that. You have to have balance. But you need to state your victim story first. We don't stay a victim, but we must speak our truth.
There you go. And one thing I'm feeling in my soul for you is the only person that you need to really forgive is yourself for abandoning yourself to please everybody else around you.
Yes.
And that is pretty much the conflict with all of your relationships. You lose you and become somebody else just to not be lonely.
I was going to say, good job, baby.
And, you know, you're going to have to let that go, honey. You know, if you want the right one to show up.
Right.
Because I don't believe that you misspoke earlier when you said I'm seeking. I don't think that was an accident. I think something in you is still
comes from your heart.
Yeah, I think something in you is still seeking. And the only one that's going to show up is that pain body that's screaming out, somebody hear what I have to say.
Right.
Because I'm tired of abandoning myself to please others for the sake of love. That's not love, because that kind of love has conditions. And there's always going to be a conflict. That relationship, I give it 6 months, 8 months to a year, like you said, before that pain just become overwhelming, and you'll find a way to get out.
Right.
Yep.
Or create a way to get out.
Or they will create a way to get out.
Right.
Yep.
You know, and that's okay because that gets healed tonight.
Right.
You know, and I'm so glad that you brought this up, because you're not the only one going through that. Trust me, we deal with people all the time with this issue. You know, they want the conflict to be resolved so much that they'll forsake themselves. And that you don't need to do that anymore. Okay? I just want that bold, loud person within you, isn't there somewhere, to just come on out and, you know, just start laying it out of the things that are going wrong right now and give that pain a voice. And once that pain has a voice, watch it leave.
And also I would like to add, pay attention to the patterns in your relationship. Look at your past relationships with men. And even look at a relationship with women as friends, because even though you're not in a romantic relationship with them, mother issues play out with those as well. You want to know what you're struggling with. Pay attention to your relationships.
I noticed that. I did. A couple of months ago, I was hanging out with a female friend of mine, and I was just like, wow. I said, you know what? It's like when I talk to you, I feel like I'm getting mother's wisdom. And that's not where we are, because she is not my mother. But I do understand, and, you know, it's one of those things where I've often looked outside of myself for answers. For others, you know, their opinion, their validation, their support versus looking within and saying, and I read, I have a knowledge of and awareness of that everything that I am seeking on the outside of me is already inside of me.
Yes.
Right.
It's just I have to acknowledge it.
Right.
You have to practice it, honey.
There you go.
Don't say acknowledge. That's another thing. We read. Exactly. You have to make it a spiritual practice. You have to take time to. You have to